Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy, and today's topic, today's video is going to be something that is probably going to be hard for some of you to watch. It's definitely going to be hard for me to record, I might get a little sick and start vomiting all over my camera, but I'm going to try to hold it in, okay? I'm going to be discussing with you guys what I personally consider to be the most painful ways for you to die. Now there are many ways for you to bite the dust, and a lot of people have the privilege, let's say, of dying painlessly, sometimes in their sleep, or sometimes something happens, like it's a very instant death, like if your plane crashes or something, it's morbid to say, but it is quick and painless, but there are some people who are just not as lucky, and this video was inspired by a conversation I was having with my YouTube partner. I have another channel, in case you guys don't know. I'm going to leave a link to it up here, but it's in Portuguese, but I still recommend you guys to subscribe if you want to help us, hit 300 subscribers. We were actually discussing this some time ago, and it inspired me to make this video, what we personally consider to be the most painful ways to die, Now, in my opinion, it would be burnt alive, it would definitely be catching fire and just feeling yourself slowly burning and melting, My friend, on the other hand, thinks that it would be drowning. He thinks that drowning is a little harder because you're going to be struggling, gasping for breath, and you're going to slowly lose consciousness and just, I don't know, it must be horrible, not being able to breathe. But anyway, the first two forms that I'm going to talk about are those two, In my opinion, the worst way to go is being burned alive for a few different reasons, because for one thing, fire is painful, guys. It's really painful, If you put your finger on top of a candle, it's going to sting and it's already going to irritate for a few days, It's happened to me before. But imagine, like, if you suffer third-degree burns on your arm or your leg, you're gonna see your skin actually melting off and your flesh underneath, Imagine that happening over your whole body, all over your body, from your head all the way down to your toes, down to your fingertips. You're like fire all over the place, very slowly melting your skin off and cooking you alive, Like, you're gonna feel the pain, it's gonna be hot, searing pain. It's gonna be mind-numbingly painful, and you're going to feel your skin melting and smell your flesh cooking, roasting alive. You're gonna feel your own skin burning, it's gotta be horrible, People who die like burnt alive, like, I'm not talking about like back in the day. Well, when you're way back in the day, how people executed people accused of witchcraft would be tying them to wooden stakes and burning them alive. That would probably be even worse because you're tied to a stake. You can't even move. Like when you're being burned alive and you're in a burning building and you're all over the place and you're stopping and dropping and rolling, it's going to be painful, of course, but I think that being tied to something is worse because you can't even move, You have to sit there and just wait for yourself to burn to death, That would definitely be horrendous, And I feel really sorry for people who do this, And if you die by drowning, it's also pretty bad, because it's really hard to hold your breath. Have you ever tried to hold your breath for any reason, It's hard. Like, your body literally can't, At one point, your throat is going to open up and force you to breathe, When you're drowning, when you're underwater, you can't do that because as soon as you open to take a breath, your water is going to come rushing in, And now people when they die by drowning, it's because they lose consciousness and their body eventually shuts off, because there's no oxygen going into the body. So I think that that's a really bad way to go too. But if I'm stuck in the middle of the ocean, I think I would prefer to, I think I would probably prefer to drown and be eaten by a shark or something, because it would be a very bad way to go, but still not as painful as some of the other ones that I'm going to talk about here, because oh my god, it gets worse. Another way that I think is very painful for you to die is bleeding out in any capacity, like losing a limb or something, or somebody cuts your stomach and you start to bleed, or, oh god, it's hard to talk about. If somebody slits your throat, it's going to be a very painful way to go because all of the blood is going to come out of your throat and it's going to be really... I actually have to clench my throat talking about this because it's really hard to even imagine, But that would obviously be really painful because you're gonna... Okay, let's just get into the next one. But bleeding out in any capacity, losing a lot of your own blood would definitely be a very bad way to bite the dust because, well... I'm actually getting queasy, guys. I'm not joking. I'm not just doing this for dramatic purposes. I actually am legitimately getting queasy. Talking about this is really hard for me. But... in general, I think that that would be really cool. Like if you're executed, there was a reporter here in Brazil some decades ago called Tim Lopez who was pretty much killed this way. You know, he was taken up to he was shot a few times in the limbs, and then they cut off his arms and his legs with a sword after tying him to a tree, and then and shot him some more. You know, and then they actually set fire to him too. So that was a very painful death, a very painful way to go. And I think that I'm going to try to not get into too much detail because it's actually making me feel sick. And another way that I think would be really, really hard to go would be being crushed to death, you know, like, because I don't know, like, how it would feel. Like, if it's a quick death, like if you're being crushed between two giant, I don't know, cement walls or something, you know, or metal braces, and you're being very slowly smushed, you know. Like even if it's quick and painless, there's gonna be probably a good 2 or 3 seconds there where you're gonna feel unimaginable pain because it's all of your organs in your brain, everything in your body getting smushed. You know, there was actually a guy who died because you guys know those paper factories, right? The ones that make those really big sheets of paper. There was a guy who I think accidentally stuck his hand into one of them and he was sucked inside. You know, and it actually does show the image, you know, but the video that I saw was blurred out. You know, it showed the guy just getting sucked in and being turned into paper, you know. Like, how do you even feel that? Like is there time for your brain to register the pain, you know, being completely flattened? You know, I don't think there's even time because it happened in a fraction of a second, you know. But I also think being eaten alive is a really bad way to go. Like if you're attacked by a pack of wild animals, like I don't know, let's say lions or wolves, or even mauled by a bear, you know, that would probably suck too, because depending on the animal that attacks you, I mean, you're basically going to be eaten alive, or you're just going to sit there. It's going to attack you until you slowly die, you know. I think by a shark would also suck, you know, if you actually do die. A great white shark with those razor sharp teeth, you know, that would definitely be a really painful way to go. And people who survive, like Rodney Fox, the most famous shark attack survivor, that guy, can't even imagine the level of pain he felt, man. And people who actually do die and remember the pain, remember the shark just biting them all over, like to pieces, you know, I think that would just really, really suck. I ended up remembering another one that is actually kind of like death by starvation at some point, you know, because being buried alive, you know, when you're being buried alive, I mean, you do eventually die, you know, assuming that nobody tragically finds you, you know, assuming that you are in the coffin and you die there, you're going to die very, very slowly by starvation and thirst, you know. I mean, because the human body can only go so long without eating and drinking, you know, so you're going to die very slowly. I think that would actually be even worse than anything else, because you're going to feel your stomach craving food. You're going to see yourself getting thinner and thinner, you know, and eventually your mouth getting drier and drier, your eyesight, you know, because, I mean, you're going to go quite a while without eating, drinking, showering, relieving yourself, you know, so I think that would also suck. You're going to pretty much slowly and painfully decompose, you know, you're going to stop existing right then and there, you know. I think that's a very cruel thing to do. Like, I probably wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, you know? Like, I mean, if you're going to, as morbid as it is to say, if you're gonna wish death on somebody, as long as you make it painless, you know? Like the Manson family back in the 70s, you know, when they executed that family inside that house, you know, they butchered them, you know, they knifed them to death. Another painful way to go would probably be stabbed to death, you know, because you're going to be repeatedly stabbed multiple times until you eventually bleed out, you know. That would also really suck, you know, the painful jabs of a knife going through you multiple times, you know, that would suck so bad. Oh my God. And I think also falling from a great height would also suck, you know, even if you probably wouldn't really feel it, you know, like if you fall from the top of a really high building, hit the pavement and die, you know, I mean, obviously it's actually not the fall that kills you, you know, it's the sudden stop, but I think it would still really suck, you know, like, even if it's just a fraction of a second of pain, you're gonna feel something, you know. And overdosing on a drug might also kind of suck, or multiple drugs, you know. I don't really know how overdosing works, like what the sensation is, but it would probably suck. I don't know if you die in your sleep, you know. It's just, I think that, like, if you are somebody who commits suicide by hanging, that would also be really painful, you know, because first you're gonna feel your neck breaking, then you're going to slowly lose oxygen. It's the same concept of drowning, that you're pretty much gonna lose oxygen, you know, very, very quickly. But I don't know, man. You know, people who take that, who make that decision, just, I don't know. But Yeah, I think that's it, guys. I have a little stopwatch here, my timer, that's telling me how long I've been recording a video, and I'm really relieved that it hit 10 minutes because that's like the lowest threshold that I can go before ending the video, and I think I'm actually going to end it here. I can't think of any more painful ways to die, but there are obviously many others, you know. It's just that just thinking about this, just thinking about painful ways to die, you know, would suck, you know. Getting shot like in the stomach or something, or in the heart, a place that's gonna kill you pretty much instantly, but you're still gonna spend a few minutes in agonizing pain, you know. It would just be horrible. I don't even want to think about this too much, but yeah. The damage today is that, painful ways to die, and I named just a few, what in my opinion are the worst ones, you know, and if you guys have different ideas, share them with me in the comments, tell me what you think are the worst ways to die, and I think that's all I can share for now. I'm gonna go before I get sick. Good thing I haven't had lunch yet, I'd probably vomit everything out. I'm done, guys, I'm done for today. This is Chazzy, signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.